tell you what it is before we start.
Okay.
Right. So I'll say, like, it's Fred, like, I'll go hi, and I never do the hi, right? I always am embarrassed by the way that I say hello. How do you say hello when you were starting your show? How did you say hello?
Hi.
Was that it? Was you
No, when I started the show, good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Okay.
morning.
Good morning. That's quite authoritative.
Morning, and
Right.
then you would say the date.
But did you ever get caught up on it? Like, because when I try and say hello, then I go, oh, hello. And I always look like I'm surprised.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get
Well,
that?
no, because radio was a sort of non-visual medium, so I didn't really mind how I looked.
Right, don't interrupt me because
Okay.
I'm going to do it right. So what happens is, this isn't radio. We're going out to about 4 people on the interweb. And this bit is a 2-shot, right?
Okay.
But you've got to pretend that it's not a 2-shot, that it's just a single on me. So if you can pretend that you're not here while I introduce. No, don't
Right.
look at me because that'll put me off. That'll make me worse.
All right, but that's what I would do.
No, but
If it
don't
was a
do that.
one-shot,
No,
okay.
but don't do that. Because you wouldn't. You would be thinking about what you're about to say. Right, so, ready. Hello, welcome to 20 Minutes Till Pickup, the weekly podcast that I know that you're desperately trying to avoid but can't. We're back again this week, and I have a new co-host who is like a proper interviewer, ladies and gentlemen, like a proper one. He's done it like a lot of the times, but he's charitably agreed to do this show only because he's staying here. And I said he couldn't. I said he couldn't stay here unless he did the podcast. And then he went, oh, okay. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my co-host, Fred MacAulay.
Hi, Ellen. I would kiss you now.
How long? We've
See
known
you.
each other forever, haven't we?
We've known each other, Lynn, at least 24 years.
At least 24.
Yeah, because we did some stand-up comedy.
We did. And Fred wore my clothes.
I did.
You wore my dress.
I did.
You wore it better than I
Now,
wore
would
it.
you have said it was white with black dots?
Yes,
That's my memory.
It was
yeah.
white with black dots.
And that was at the Edinburgh Fringe, and I think it was 1991. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this out loud in front of all these people.
Yeah.
I think Eddie Izzard was in the audience that night. Here's the thing.
You wore it better than me, you bastard, though, didn't you?
I have not a bad leg on me, Lynn.
You do have a
But
good leg.
24 years on, the bad leg has got seriously varicose veined.
Has it? Do you know, I've got a good laser place for that. They do the... Over here, you can get rid of all manner of stuff.
Yeah, and I would do that, but I really just can't be bothered.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mrs. Fred, as I used to refer to my wife, Aileen. Of course, she's got a name of her own. She's a strong feminist woman. It's Mrs. MacAulay. She says, "Don't be ridiculous." Because why would you pay money to get veins removed from your leg?
I would, though. I do.
I might yet.
I do,
Yeah.
you know. I think you were wearing shorts yesterday.
Aye.
So,
And a traditional long hose.
you looked very
Sorry,
perky.
that's socks. Hose.
Hose.
Yes.
Hosen. That's German as well.
Yeah.
Here, have you seen my parrot? Do you know what my parrot does?
I can hardly miss it.
But do you know what it does? Oh, come in. It's okay.
Here's the wife.
No, come in.
Come on in.
Is coming. His wife is coming in.
Can she join us
Yes,
at some
of course.
point?
Yes,
Right,
come on
cool.
in, Aileen. Move.
No, I'm
Go
fine.
get...
I'll just listen to you both.
Oh, no, we're on the thing.
We're on.
You've got to come and look.
Come and
though,
look
so they
and
can
say
see
hello.
you.
Okay.
No, she's staying at the naked camera side of...
Oh, she's staying naked. Well, don't get too close to the naked camera.
Speaking of long hose.
I really got an ice cube
I
through my
hang
nose.
on.
What did you
So,
See, that's what I'm best at, that kind of rude gag.
but wait. We got that.
Parrot was all softly spoken until you played with it right out there.
We got that in Las Vegas. They're going to Las Vegas tomorrow.
Yep.
Mr. and Mrs. Fred are going to Las Vegas tomorrow. And we got that parrot there, so you could get a parrot in there.
Has anybody ever remarked that it's like a cross between a parrot and a puffin? I don't think that's not a parrot. It's not a parrot beak, is it?
It's a-
put it there, would you? That's more a puffin beak.
I don't
You've
know.
only got the one pattern.
Uh-huh. And puffins have got a foul mouth on them.
Do they? Puffins don't speak. Do puffins speak?
Puffin language, yeah, they're effing and seeing. Oh, aye.
Now, here's the thing you've got to know about Fred. Well, you probably will know about Fred if you're British, but if you're not British, you won't know. I wouldn't have thought. But Fred hosted your own morning show for how many years?
Nearly 18 years.
Nearly 18
Nearly
years,
18
and he's
years.
only 27. Wasn't he? He was like a child star, wasn't he?
It was a prize for coming top in primary 6. Which is
know
that'd be
what
like 6th grade.
It was a great show though, because it was a great show, but it was random. I don't
Yes.
think it would have been great if you weren't in it, to be honest, because you're really adaptable to things. But it would be things like, heavy political things, and then followed by, do you have bunions?
Yes, that you're so close to the truth. We had James McAvoy and Irvin Welsh on when Filth was released, and then after that they left the studio at about 10 to 12. The show finished at 11:59, and we filled 9 minutes with foot care. And I say we filled it for 9 minutes. I didn't manage. I was struggling. Can you imagine? I mean, Irvin Welsh, right? An author who I really admire. James McAvoy. Scotland's, what have we got? Maybe 5 or half a dozen male acting stars of that stature. And they're just leaving the studio, and in comes a podiatrist, and I'm saying, really? So you have to dry between the toes? All right. And
Did
keep
you
the
hear that
nails.
helicopter? Did you hear the
yes.
helicopter?
I didn't know whether it just blew on or not with my
No, it was good that you played it.
podiatry chat.
We don't edit.
Nothing stops foot care.
Listen, what was... I have to ask you now, because I can ask you now, because you've finished the show.
Yeah.
Because you know what was amazing about it, right? Because 20 minutes when I'm talking here, and most of the time, if you watch this regularly, I'm sorry, but most of the time you know this is drivel, right? But how many hours was that? How long was that show?
It was only 90 minutes.
90 minutes.
Yeah.
But
And
it was
we-
amazing. It was always
but-
pretty interesting.
Yeah, but we did okay. There was always 20 minutes of drivel. And the rest was padding.
No, it wasn't.
20
It was
minutes of
brilliant.
drivel and 70 minutes of
It was
padding.
my parents' favourite show.
Oh,
Was the reason
bless
my
them.
parents decided that it was okay to pay their licence fee was your
Me.
radio show. What was, I have to ask you this, what was the most ridiculous thing you ever had to do? Was it foot care?
That came pretty high on the ridiculous scale. We did a lot of stuff, and I can say this now, but when the briefs would come in, right, so the show had
Not the
producers, not the pants,
No.
the producers and researchers, because it was BBC, so it was well resourced, and so the briefs would come in and you would just kind of look down, and anything that had to do with crafts, knitting, needlework, making these books that people used to do with cutty-outy things.
Scraps. Scrapbooks.
That really
I
didn't
like
float
that
my
stuff.
boat. Do
No.
you?
I do like that stuff, although, in fact, in another podcast, I complained about when I was at school, the careers officer had said that I would make a good occupational therapist. And I was like, what is that?
Okay.
And she said, you go and make baskets with sick people. And I was like, honestly, if you were sick, if you were really feeling bad, would you want me to come and make a basket with you? Has that ever crossed your mind, Fred?
No, it hasn't. And I've been ill.
Yeah.
I didn't get to the
We've all
age
been
that I am without having
What,
some kind
27?
of minor ailments. But I've never thought, if only I could make a basket.
Hey, we could do it now.
What do you need? Well, I know exactly what you need. You need raffia.
You do need raffia.
raffia.
Coloured raffia.
I haven't seen, or even the word raffia hasn't come out my mouth.
Do you know what?
It's not 20 minutes, is it?
No. Do you know what? I haven't even put the timer on.
All right.
Oh, no.
Well, this is just the padding.
No, do you know what it is?
Will
Is
we
that-
recap?
No.
Hello.
Because that would
There's Mrs. Fred.
No, right, hold on.
18 years.
Right, okay, we're going to start and then
care.
we'll recap. Irvin Welsh, helicopter, foot care, Mrs. Fred. Right,
So
so
you're starting 20 minutes now.
well, I am, but the thing is,
It can be any length
oh,
of
the
time,
parrot,
can't it?
yeah, no, it can be me.
It's not
You-
edited, but don't worry about.
No, you can say
Shout.
things.
Because you might find they're not even that funny.
Richard Katie's story
Oh,
on the radio.
Can I say that?
Yes, you can say whatever you like.
So we had a reporter, right,
Yeah.
Richard Cady, who was a lovely guy from England, And we used to get him to do odd things. And he used to volunteer to do odd things. And some of them were challenges.
How old?
You know, he would maybe cycle to Manchester to watch a football game. Or he would... There was a thing, do you remember 2 or 3 years ago called milking? Where people would just kind of pour milk over themselves. And it was videoed. Yeah, and he did that for us.
For the radio, though? What would be the point of that for the radio?
But... Well, when you're on 5 days a week, don't mock this, because in 3 years' time you're going to be saying, "I think we should maybe milk somebody," and I don't mean like that. That's pervy. Yeah, we milk.
Oh yeah, and getting someone to pour milk over themselves for a radio, that's no
fine.
pervy. That's perfectly normal.
So. There was a call by the Scottish Naturists for more nudies.
Oh!
Right? Preaching to the converted here.
There's always a need.
So, can we say this?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so he goes to
Of course you
interview. He goes to interview a couple of the, and this is not a word Americans will know, but high Hedians, right?
Bosses.
The higher echelons of the Naturists,
Yeah.
who were pensioners,
Elderly.
And obese.
Larger.
Larger.
Husky. They were husky.
And he did the interview, and bless him, he got naked as well.
Huh?
And so the interview's over, and we're speaking to him live, and he's just kind of saying, "Well, I feel slightly odd, but how do you feel?" And they're going, "Well, this is just how we live our lives, and we carry on, and our guests will come, and we'll maybe go down and have a barbecue or a game of volleyball or whatever Naturists do." And he said, "Blah blah blah." End of story. The 8 minutes is done. Really, you have to drive between the toes, and so he's packing up his equipment,
So to speak.
in a case, in an aluminium case, where you keep the recording equipment, and he's down on his knees, and the lady bent over to pick something up off the floor, not a yard from his face.
Did she fart, please, Tim?
No, she didn't fart. But let's just say he saw
the future. He saw the future. He saw into the future.
He saw the hoop, and dangling from it a bit of loo roll.
With a surprise.
No, no, we didn't ask any more than that. I just thought and that guy. That guy deserved every penny he got as reporter for that. Is that okay to tell that story?
Of course it's okay to tell. I don't
It's
really
hideous.
understand the Naturists. I mean, he's nude, but then nobody really gets to see him beside that
I
camera.
know, he wouldn't.
I always use a mirror to make sure I've tidied up.
Correct. That's right. Tidied up.
Is it something that you would...
Or if you're in a public convenience, an aluminium door.
to check. The American toilets are horrible, aren't they? With a big the thing with a big gap
it's a
underneath.
big gap there, and there's a wee gap down the side.
no, I know, right?
I'm not too keen on that.
No, because you think that's someone's eye.
Was that you looking in or looking
That was
out?
me looking out.
Would you
Not
ever
looking
try the naturist thing yourself? Have you ever thought, you and Mrs. Fred, have you
I've
ever
skinny dipped.
thought? Oh, yeah?
Don't mind a skinny dip. Yep.
Together?
We have.
Have you?
Yeah, I'm sure we must have.
Last wife, was it not?
No,
Yeah.
the only wife. We must have. Yes, we did. In the sea and in the pool. When we were young and carefree,
Oh, bless you.
child free.
But would you ever go on a holiday?
No, I
with them?
wouldn't. I wouldn't do
No.
that. No, it's not for me.
It's not right for barbecues. I mean,
No.
there's safety issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there are some things to be kept private. I do. Do you know what I mean? Just to be too much of a... You couldn't not mention it, could you? Anyway. So one of...
My thing is that, I like the danger of being this side of the camera.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice, but nobody else needs to see this.
Well, I've been
Don't
saying
I
that
do
for
either.
years.
I didn't know that was part of the deal.
It is. That's what you get when you're staying here. Uncle Mark has to show you his tools.
Uncle Mark.
So one of the things we do on this podcast, it's probably the only thing that we do. You'll have noticed the house is quite cluttered. Have you noticed the house is quite cluttered?
It's not bad. I mean, this what I thought was my bedroom, but is in fact the studio.
Yeah.
It's kind of cluttered, but that's only because we've
got things.
It's got us.
But it's got a lot of. We've got like boxes
That's
and
cluttered.
stuff. Yeah, we've
that
got
is.
clutter. Yeah, you can't see that because we're only on this one shot. But one of the things that we've been trying to do to clean out, Mark wants me to clean out my vinyl collection.
Right. And has this got to go?
No, this is.
I keep trying to get rid of that,
Uh-huh.
but yeah.
But most
Not
people feel
successful.
like it shouldn't.
No, just your long-term friends and stuff.
What I've said is that I'm prepared to let go of whatever vinyl my co-hosts say that they would let go of, right? and nobody's made a definitive decision on Neil Sedaka. Are you a Neil Sedaka fan?
Well, do you know this?
What?
I remember things like Old Carol, Calendar Girl. I mean, they must have been late 50s.
And it's got Stairway to Heaven on it, which I thought was Stairway to Heaven, but it isn't.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's
Proud
not.
Mary?
Yeah, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Neil.
Yeah. But what I admired most about Neil Sedaka was the hair. I mean, that's a good.
But do you know what I like about it is that what he's decided is he's losing his hair on the top, so he grows it on the side.
Yeah, to distract
That's
you.
the thing. You see that? Grow it on the side. Take from that, Donald Trump. You could do that, right?
Right. That can stay, okay? Because I know the words. My heart's in the world. I love
my calendar girl. And I would play it. This is actually a record player, but you know what?
Right.
We can't because of the rights.
Now,
No, we
you
can't
see,
because of the rights.
Same as you, Lynn, my parents are sadly no longer with us. My dad, bless him, once took apart the wee Decca record player that we had because it wasn't working, and he put it back together again, and it went backwards.
Could you hear the message of the devil? Is that where that thing? Who
And
was
I
it?
think,
that
what was it,
messaging?
Black Sabbath or something?
Yeah.
And I think Black Sabbath were in the room.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I was never, ever, ever a fan of the Smiths.
Why? Because I am a fan of the
It's not
Smiths.
my time. I
But
wasn't
you must
listening
have,
to music
didn't
then.
you think it was
Honest
because
juice,
you're a
that's
witty?
fine.
He's doing these very fast.
Aye,
Isn't he?
well-
As fast as he's not going to consider it, is he? I mean, these are like my things. These are my things.
Throwing them aside with such disdain.
Absolutely right.
How young are the boys?
I know. Look at that. He's a little baby.
And I'll tell you, you were talking about interviews, good interviews. Edwin came in through his recuperation from his stroke with his missus, and for the love of me, I can't remember her name, and they were fantastic.
No.
Just one of the best interviews ever.
Who's your favourite apart from me? Obviously.
Apart from you,
Yeah.
you know, tough interviews were people that you and I have known all our lives. You know, the people see interviewing other comedians. It's tough, isn't it?
But also, there's that thing where some people bizarrely are hostile, and you don't really know why they're hostile. And then it's like, well, you can see it here. Like you can see we get on, right? Because probably we're mirroring each other. Well, we don't get on. We hate each other, but like we're mirroring each other, and there'll be stuff going on. But there's that thing sometimes when you're doing radio, and someone's like really mean, and you're doing those eyes.
Yep.
To them, and then
Yep.
they just don't. It's like they want to compete with you or
So
something.
the-
It's a weird
Yep.
thing.
And I think as they become more successful, they maybe are into projects that they have to come and do publicity for.
Yeah.
So people that I've known, and I'm not going to name a name, but he's made it into the movies, and he came on, and in the early day of his film career, he came on, and he was just a bit of a shit.
Yeah, really.
And the next time he came on, he was face to face,
Right.
and he said, "Fred, I think I was a bit of a shit the last
Oh,
time." And I thought,
bless
well, that's you knew, you know.
Yeah.
And
You did the thing he did that was amazing, right? Is that they do these shows like this but better, right, with actual real questions and stuff like that. But then there'd be like you do it in front of an audience. It'd be like in a theatre,
Yeah.
So that people, it was going out live on air, like properly live. And then, like in Edinburgh, there's all the audience there. That was
400 of them
mental. In the morning.
every morning. They would queue up. They'd be queued up at about 9 o'clock some mornings,
Yeah,
Ale.
before that even, yeah.
Because the tickets were so popular, and not because of who I was,
Yeah,
but
that
because
was
no,
involved
it was
in it.
because we gave them a snapshot of the Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah.
So we would have maybe 8 or 9 acts on a 90-minute show. So you're going to get 10 minutes with Paul Merton, Eddie Izzard, Frank Skinner, Jack Dee, Phil Jupitus, Marcus Brigstock, you know, a lot of big names.
Me.
Lynn Ferguson and Rory Bremner. So then a lot of people who weren't quite so well known.
Yeah.
And it was lovely
Me.
to give people a wee, you know, like Martin Moore. Do you know Martin Big Pig?
I love him.
He is. I've got
I
so
love
much respect for
him.
him. Craig Campbell, brilliant Canadian comic, but wasn't really such a.
It's still.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong camera.
Oh, are you looking at there?
I'm looking at the one shot. Is this the two shot?
No, that's the 2 shot there. That
sorry.
one. No,
My apologies.
Do you know
We'll
that-
just do the whole thing again.
No.
What an amateur.
no. We're going.
But years ago, right? This is staying as well.
Why? Oh, so they're
because
all staying, right?
This is well. I'm not sure about the Smiths. Right?
You don't
Orange
like the
Juice is
Smiths?
definitely
The Orange
staying.
Juice is staying.
I was never into the Smiths. I was never into Morrissey.
Oh, well, I'm not into Morrissey, but
And I
like the
think-
Smiths were awfully good, didn't you think? What do you think, Mrs. Fred?
I think it's a good name, rank. Because
Yeah.
if you're from Scotland, something's rank.
It means it's stinky.
Stinky.
Oh, you don't like the
yeah,
Smiths?
yeah.
No, I think they're very.
What year was this?
Maybe we're too old for it.
88. Right. This was 1988. So I was
Wow.
looking at the other camera.
You must have been.
In
young.
1988, we were up to our eyeballs in kids, and we
When
didn't.
did
we
you
didn't, we
meet
didn't
then? When
listen
did you
to
meet?
music.
No, we didn't.
We don't.
Aileen and I met in
You know,
1978.
When you were like
75.
5, were you 5?
16,
I'm
18,
15.
18.
So you really did you meet at school?
No,
I was at school, Fred was at university.
I was at university with her sister. So nothing pervy.
Oh, that's gorgeous, right?
Right. So Perry Como.
Magic
Ba-ba-boom.
moments. Dee-dee-dee-dee.
My father, when we lived in Rattray, sent me down to the record shop to buy Perry Como, or maybe it was when we lived in Perth. I can't remember the year, but remember the song, "And I Love You So."
My mother loved that
And,
song. Yeah.
well, Dad gave it to Mum for a gift,
Oh.
and it must have been a Christmas present, but I had to run and buy it.
Why would he not buy it? Was he
I
embarrassed?
don't know, I think he just wouldn't have known.
Too manly to buy records.
Hey, what's these things that go round and round the wrong way?
There was something about like my mum loved all of those guys, like the guys that wore cardigans. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Val Hooligan.
Val Dooligan.
That's where I thought that was Val
No,
Doonigan
it's Perry Como.
when I saw it, but it's definitely Perry Como. And there was a great Perry Como joke,
Yeah.
and I can't remember who told it, but it was a real 70s gag,
Mm-hmm.
and it said, and it might have been from over here in the States.
Oh.
Somebody said, you know, Perry Como once had a dream that he was in front of an audience and he'd fallen asleep, and when he woke up, he had. Because he was so laid back. It's a good gag. I've probably not done it justice telling it like that, but that was
It took me a wee while.
yeah. But so the implication is that he was so laid back. He just
Do you think he was a stoner? Do you think he was
Perry
a
Como.
stoner?
Why I was saying
Because he was just a guy that was sort of
I don't know.
happy.
I think he was more a methamphetamine man, was he not?
And
But in May 55, he signed an unprecedented firm 12-year contract with NBC, reported to be $15 million for the Perry Como show Saturday nights in 1955.
wow. You know, I used to like those shows. You know those shows when it was just like a guy singing on a chair?
Yeah.
Like that. And then they'd, you know, like, and it'd be like little, they always did little green apples, didn't they? And the banana, little green apples, like that. And then they'd have a guest lady in a pretty dress.
Yeah.
And
Times were simpler then,
they
weren't
were.
they?
Do you remember Give Us a Twirl, Anthea?
Oh, yes.
I
wasn't keen on that.
oh, you went?
No, I was never a big fan of Brucey.
Bruce, there used to be, if you're not British, there used to be a show that was on like 7 o'clock on a Saturday night.
Thereabouts.
And it was a guy who would say, you know, this guy Bruce, and he'd have his catchphrase, and then he'd bring his wife. Was she his wife? She was his wife, right?
It was called the Generation Game.
Yeah, and his
because he
wife-
was from one generation and she was from another.
Yes, see, yeah. And then his wife would come on and he'd go, Anthea Redfern, and then she had to do a twirl
I
and
know.
show her dress. And you know what? In my house, all the girls, all the women in the house would go, oh, I don't like that one. She's got fat thighs and everything like that. It was like, all she did, bless her, all that she did was wander in, wear a dress, and the amount
Spin
of
round.
abuse that she got from female kind was...
Do you also remember, though, when he gave up the Generation game and Larry Grayson,
what was it? Shut that door. Shut that door.
my friend Everard,
And my mother would go, he is not gay. He is not gay. It was like the most bizarre thing.
he had his specs on a wee chain, didn't
Yeah.
he? Put them on like that. But his co-host was Isla Sinclair. Who was
That's
a gorgeous
right,
Scottish lassie.
What happened to her? Was she not a folk singer or
She
something
was
like that?
indeed. She was from Aberdeenshire, I think. She was really bonny.
Oh, did you like
Oh
that?
yes, when I was a teenage boy, Isla
Oh,
was.
yeah. Oh, I could have. Oh. I wish you could see the face that Mrs. Fred has got on right now. Did you have a favourite TV show growing up? Did you have a favourite American TV show, actually?
Do you know,
Yeah.
we loved Bilko.
Oh, yeah, I like Bilko.
My old man had a great sense of humour, and there was once he enjoyed a dram, and he was a bit pickled one night, and I said, Dad, I'm going off to bed. And he said, I'm just going to watch Bilko. Right? And I knew he was going to fall asleep. And I got up the next morning, and I said, did you watch Bilko? Oh, aye. I said, what was it about? He said, oh, it was the one where he was in the army.
And he had a plan. Did you like the Twilight Zone?
No, didn't watch the Twilight Zone.
I can't believe that we are friends.
Love Bilko.
Yeah.
Mary Tyler Moore.
Well, I like Mary Tyler
Yeah.
Moore. Yeah, I like Mary
Do
Tyler.
you remember Some Others Do Avon?
I do. That
That
that didn't make it over here. That was kind of like Mr. Bean, but no, it wasn't.
Correct. We've got 1 minute.
Oh no, we'll
1 minute
find
to
out.
pick
Right.
up.
Is there anything that you would like to advise me about before you finish?
Not really, Lynn. But it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, no, but
It
you've been
has.
my friend this time. Is there
I've been
anything you
worried
need to
about my
tell?
breath,
No.
though. I've had nuts, red wine, and coffee. So I'm bound to be.
That's a good night out. No, you're adorable. You're adorable. Anything?
Well,
that
you and I, we probably are. We're not incredibly close. We don't
No,
see each
no,
other
we're
from
not.
time to
We're
time.
not, we're not.
But in terms of length,
Well, which is always important.
we're probably a wee disappointment. The truth be told. But yeah, because not only did I do the show back in '91 in your frock, you did it in my trousers.
Did I?
You did.
Did I fit into
You
your
did.
trousers?
I think
I don't remember
I think you had my brogues on as well. I had a good comedy brogue.
Do you know that used to, that? I know that it's a lot. Oh. Anyway, this has been another episode.
This has been the most craziest of all.
No.
Most shambolic.
No, it has. It has. We've gone from nudists
Mm-hmm.
to foot care to. Do you know? And the terrible thing, I'm really sorry about this. If you're, I'm sorry anyway.
I'm sorry if
for
you're
these.
watching.
But I'm sorry if you're watching because
What a great sign off that would be.
No,
You should
it's
keep
not.
that.
No, I do
I'm
that.
sorry if you're watching.
Sorry if you're
Unite.
But like I sort of feel I know you so well that I just haven't really bothered.
We are the
Do you know what I mean?
Regis and
It's
Kathy
like that.
Lee
Well,
of
you
the
know,
podcast
and
world.
there you go.
What's that?
So, we'll do another podcast next time you're back.
I'm coming back.
Oh, you're coming back?
Definitely
When are, you,
am.
when are you coming back?
Not sure.
Tomorrow when we do it all
No
online.
plan. Oh God. Yes.
All right, I have been me, obviously, droning on. This has been Fred MacAulay. Very impressive. Woo, woo.
Aileen MacAulay, naked
Come on
cameraman.
in, just for the do a wee like that. Can you wave? People, no, they're not going to.
Just
I
a
know you
hand.
can wave at me, but wave there, because otherwise
Here
people
she
will
is.
think that you've made it up. Right, come on.
Jesus.
Hooray! Woohoo! All right, see you later.
Bye, guys. Who was that?
Nice to know.
That was-
what
there you go, that's the- It's random,
great.
isn't it? No, it'll be what? Are you still filming?
Am I allowed?
No.
Oh,
if you want to ask a question, I can't guarantee we'll answer it, but I'll try. You could tweet me a question at @LynFergie, or you can make a comment if you're watching this on the video. And you know what would be awesome? Can you share this? Thanks. Alright, see you later.